Well, hello, guys. It's great to see you back again on Brothers Supporting Brothers. I'm here with my brother Chris Cobb. Um, he's been known him for a while. We were in the same industry for an extended period of time. I'm still in the industry. He's doing bigger and better things in the industry than I can even attempt to achieve. But he's out here knocking it out the ballpark. I'll let him kind of introduce himself and tell you a little bit about who he is. And again, this platform is mainly just about business, ministry, outreach, healing, and things like that. So, uh, Chris, introduce yourself to him and tell them a little bit about how we know each other and give them a little background.
Yeah, so like you said, we've been kicking it. We've been knowing each other for about 4 or 5 years, I would say, at least because I moved to Houston in 2020 January. So in 2 months it'll be January 24th. So
And
that's
I
at
met
least
you when you proposed to Erica.
that's what I'm saying. So it's been like 4.5 years or so that we've been knowing each other. So we were all in the same industry, working with the same company. But like you said, my name is Chris. I'm actually before I moved to Houston, I lived in Atlanta. I'm from Georgia. I'm from a small town called Hartwell. I'm sure everybody's heard of it. And yeah, I come from humble beginnings. Not a lot going on in Hartwell, very tiny town. My whole family's in education, so when you start seeing me and some of my content, some of the things I do is always education driven, education based because I love teaching. It's what I grew up seeing. My mom was a teacher, principal. Dad taught for a couple of years. Granddad was a professor at HBCU. His dad taught. So all my aunts, uncles, cousins, they pretty much are in the education backfield. But somehow, well, I know how, I actually got into insurance and finance. And the way I did was because my mom used to ask me what I want to be when I grow up. And I would tell her I want to be rich. So she would tell me, Chris, you might not want to get in education, find something else. So I did start studying business at the University of Georgia. My dad one day said, son, what do you want to do? I was like, I like business, I like sports. So I majored in sports management. But he also said, man, you want to check out insurance because they're always hiring. There's always opportunities there. So I took an intern there for a couple weeks, learned a little bit, but didn't do anything from it. Graduated, started working at Enterprise Rent a Car, was washing and vacuuming cars. So I wasn't doing anything really business related, but I met some people in the insurance industry. They would always be the business travelers. I would always shake their hands, get their cards. They finally gave me a card one day and said, we always hiring, interview, got a job with Travelers in 2014. And so now I've been in insurance for 9 years. But after about 4 years working with Travelers, I got into life insurance part time. So I got my license just because the job I had was more like a corporate desk job, come to work on Monday, 9 o'clock, leave at 4:35. And for most people, that's the dream. You're making 50, 60, $70,000 a year, had no kids, mid-20s. It's like, man, what more could you ask for? But for me, I like helping people. I like teaching. I like being in the field. So that's why I got my life insurance license because I was like, I need to be somewhere. I need to be doing stuff. I need to be talking to people. I don't need to be looking at spreadsheets all day. Like I need to be active. And so I got my license. It's almost been 6 years now. And again, it was just something I did for fun, something I did to help people and teach about the industry because a lot of people don't know about life insurance, especially in our communities. And what was like, you hear people say passion project. I mean, it was literally a passion project. It was something to give back. And my wife and I, well, my girlfriend at the time, she supported me. We started running the business. I got married, then moved to Houston. She said go full time. I went full time with it. Started running a business, started making money. So much so that I was able to help her retire. So she quit her job as an engineer, and we've been running a brokerage for the last 3, 4 years. And yeah, we still don't know what we're doing, but we're having fun and enjoying the ride, enjoying the process, and seeing where it's going to take us. So that's a little bit of my background and how I got here. It's obviously a longer story than that, but I think that's more than enough to give you a little context for the conversation tonight.
Now, don't let them fool y'all. They definitely know what they're doing. When I used to work with them, they were the top people at one point in the entire company, not just in the state, in the entire company. They were hitting some of the top numbers and doing some major stuff. So I don't want y'all to be fooled. He humble, but they knew what they were doing. But anyway, so okay, and I know we talked a little bit, but yeah, so I met him. I had heard about him talk whatnot. I think I maybe even had talked to him on the phone or whatnot, and he got
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, so I knew his wife, and I was like, oh, this the person. So I was like, hey, nice to meet you, and I was being all friendly, and at some point it was like, I don't remember if he told me or mentioned it or something happened. It was like, oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, it's happening today. You okay? So he ended up proposing to her on stage, and it was an emotional moment, and everything happened, and it was. I feel like it all happened so fast.
They did.
Y'all were engaged, and the next thing I know, you came to Houston to visit, and then it was like, I'm staying. We married. Wait, what? Wait,
Yeah,
we don't have more time. Okay,
yeah.
cool. And so, yeah,
It was a business trip.
business from third personal.
Yeah,
So
we got engaged October 2019. We was married in January.
yeah,
So
I'm like, it was not.
yeah,
It was so.
people always like, oh, it seemed like it went fast. I was like, no, it was fast. We found the most quaint venue. It was only 30 people. They had 35 like closest friends and family. And yeah, we were on a mission, so I didn't want to delay it. I
Well,
didn't
hey,
have
look,
time
I'm
to.
not mad at it. Look, there'll be some women who are probably listening to this who like, I wish mine could marry me that fast. So it's some people, y'all. It's hope for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna dive a little bit into it, and that kind of goes into our first topic: new city, new marriage. How was that for you, um, making that transition? And I knew you like, in fairness, it was not. How do I word this? It was not brand new, right? Like your wife lived here. You had look. Don't make that face. You had made a couple of connections. I'm trying to help it out. I'm trying to help it out. You made a couple of connections. You knew some people. No, it wasn't like that at all. So tell me what was going on.
So it was under normal circumstances, it would have been just fine. But this was 2020. And so 2020 was just a year that fell. I mean, everything fell through for everybody. So yeah, and there was so many highs mixed with so many lows. So it was like, hey, I'm getting married, I'm starting a new life. Then it's pandemic and COVID. Oh, I'm starting my business going full time. And now it's like, oh man, what are we doing? And we just bought an office space and I done uprooted my life and left my family. And now, so we dated long distance at that. So I'm now in a spot where I used to see her every 3, 4 weeks for a weekend. To now I'm locked up in an apartment all day, every day. So it's like, man, this is an adjustment. So I mean, obviously, it was okay. There's normal challenges that come with a marriage, but just the COVID thing and being locked up and quarantined and just being bottled up. Me being a people person, even though I had relationships and I had built connections here, it was almost like I couldn't get to them though, because
Mm,
everybody was like just quarantined. That was it. So it was good for us in business though, because I didn't get a chance to get distracted. So like I was ready to hit the city of Houston because I knew all about it, and I didn't get to do it. But like you were saying, like that first year, how we was one of the top people in the company, that was the year because we didn't do anything else. We literally just locked ourselves up and did work, and I was able to stay focused. So it was a lot of good, especially from a business perspective. That's exactly what we needed, and it worked out really well. It just wasn't the experience that I was hoping for because you go to a new. I'm from the southeast, so I've never been away from my family. Within 2 hours or 3 hours of driving, always. And this is the first time I literally uproot, go somewhere, and yeah, it just didn't originally play out like I had thought. I thought I was gonna go out to eat every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, have our spots and get our margaritas, this and that. And it's like, no, you're gonna go to the local taco truck. That's the only place that's open. Or if you go somewhere, you're gonna order takeout because that's all they're doing is COVID. So it was just interesting. It was a transition, but we navigated. We learned a lot about ourselves. It was fun though. Like I said, we did build a lot of relationships. It was just an interesting year though. It's not even that it was bad. It was just not what I had planned. But 2020 was not what anybody planned. That's the thing. Everybody can say that.
I mean, yeah, so I guess if I had two questions, how was it to be newly married and away from your family so far away? How did your family respond to the quick, like, oh, I'm going for a business trip. By the way, I'm getting married. And also, how was it to be a newlywed and be locked up? Right. Because you think about it, like, and it's kind of like you said, like, okay, if I'm seeing her every weekend, now I'm seeing her every day, but I can kind of leave the house and get some space and then come back to the house. We good. How is it to like go from every other weekend to like literally all the time you're around each other. You can't be around anyone else. COVID is going on. Everything else is shut down. What were those two things like?
Yeah, from one, I was very homesick. A lot of people don't know it, but I missed home a lot. And like I said, I'm a big, family person. So to be so far away where it was, I mean, it's not that I hated it. What I did was I got entrenched in work. So I distracted myself with my business. And so I got my business off the ground and had some of the best months ever. But I was really like running away from the homesickness and just trying to like talk myself out of it and distract myself positively. So it's good and bad. Like I said, it worked out because I stayed focused at least. But yeah, I was definitely homesick. And for them, if you know me, they were shocked, but they're not like super shocked. They're like, if Chris is gonna get married, it's probably not gonna be a 3-year engagement. It's probably gonna be a 3-month engagement. It's probably gonna be something. Then just one day say, "Oh, yep, I'm married." I went to the courthouse. So it's kind of weird. It's like you think he's never gonna do it, but like I don't think anybody's really surprised. Um, yeah, the only thing that I think caught him off guard was me moving so soon because I think there was a lot to be desired. There was not like this process of getting him ready. It was like, hey, he got engaged, he got married, and then we gone. And I mean, we're not talking about this today, but like 2020 was the year I lost my dad too. So it was like,
Oh,
yeah, towards the end. So this was the beginning of the year. Towards the end of the year was guilt because I had not seen him since my wedding. That was the last time I saw him alive. So you just kind of pack up and leave, and then boom, you gone. So that was towards the end of the year. Like I said, that was some type of guilt. But up to that point though, it's just more I was focused, and I just used to read the scripture to myself with Abraham. It says, pack up, go to a land that's foreign to you, and I'll tell you when to stop. Just keep going. And I just felt like he was enlarging my territory and put me in better positions to take care of the family. And to this day, I think that I can honestly say I think that's exactly what happened. It's just that sometimes it's just not in the territory that you're familiar with. So that wasn't. I mean, I wish I could do it back in Georgia, but I know that if I was with the same people, same surroundings and stuff, it wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have been able to focus. So I had to get away. And to this day, I know I had to get away. Even now, sometimes people are like, hey, you ready to go back? Kind of, but I still got some more stuff I need to like prove to myself first because I need to, I need to get away from distraction. So it's bittersweet, but it's what I needed. And then the second thing was that, yeah, you go from seeing somebody, we used to see each other like once a month and for a weekend, like 2 or 3 days, to like, one, I'm seeing you every day. Not only am I seeing you every day, we're like latched together and we're running the business together too. Because prior to that, we both were in the business, but we still ran it separately. Like she was doing her own thing, I was doing my own thing. This is the first time where we were like, hey, we're building this together as a family, as a couple. So you go from, Zooming or FaceTiming and that being your dates most of the time to where breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no break. And I got an office here, so I could at least get away at times. But during the COVID season, they closed the offices down. So it was just like, and then we were working so much too. So there was no balance at all. That's the only mistake we made in the beginning. There's just no balance because it was always like, go, 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 go. And that could have been a great chance to like really build and get to know each other, and enjoy the newlywed stage. But we chose work. And at the time, if I could do it back all over again, I probably would. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But one thing I have learned is that if you are married, you want to prioritize the marriage and the business and all the other stuff will work itself out. Like that's the main thing. And there were several times we didn't do that. It's not like we were, trying to hurt each other, but we prioritized the business, and it became frustrating because now it's almost like you feel like you live with a coworker and you're with them all the time. It's like, wow. But we processed it. I think everybody was going through it though. Even the people that's been married for a while, I think they were trying to figure out how to do this thing because they don't work together usually. They don't spend all that time. So it's like you on top of each other. You're just trying to figure out what are our roles and how can we coexist all the time. And right now we spend a lot of time together. We will actually work together more now than we did then. And I think we just know how to do it and we know how to separate too. Like it's not a bad thing to say, I'm going here, you go there. And it allows us to come together and just, honestly, just coexist. Like it's just part of our life now.
but it had to be different because you're talking about. So there's a normal order to things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normal in quotes. So you normally are dating somebody, and if you date them, you living in the city with them, and you seeing them more
You see him every
often.
day.
I'm gonna go by your
Yeah,
apartment
just
today.
drop by.
See you. I'm gonna stay in my apartment, and I don't got to deal with you. And then like, blah, blah, blah. And then we move into each other, so I kind of got you. Already know your ticks and your nuances and some of that other
Hmm.
stuff to some degree. So to go from like dating long distance over the phone online to being literally locked up, because I tell you, you got to remember at that time the only thing that were open were grocery stores and
Yeah,
grocery stores and parks. Everything else
yeah,
was shut down.
yeah.
And so when you think about that, there had to be
It's a
something in
huge
there.
adjustment. It's a
Yeah,
huge adjustment. Like, because not only that, I was the guy that's kind of been single my whole life. I've had a couple girlfriends, but like I've always kind of done my own thing and had my own space. So that's why the long distance actually wasn't that bad for me. Like I didn't mind it. And I don't think she did either, honestly. So you go from that to yeah, constantly seeing somebody. And two, one thing people don't talk about is when you're in long distance, it's easy to is like hide some bad habits because if somebody's only in town for a weekend, I can keep my room clean for a weekend and I can clean the shower and the toilet. You know, the toilet, you come home, the toilet is clean. You know, like you think, oh, this man is clean. It's like, no, I just did it because you were coming and I'm only going to do it for as long as you're here. So that's a whole nother story. And it works both ways. Like I know there's idiosyncrasies and nuances with me that she like, man, we got married. I was like, I didn't know that man was like this because you can hide it from a distance easily.
yeah,
And then that's what happens. You start seeing, okay, you didn't put the roll of the toilet tissue on. Why don't you do that? Why don't you push your chair up? You know, the trash can is running over. Why, what are you doing? And you start doing that compounded day over day. It's like, oh man, what did I get myself into? But what I've learned is that that is marriage. I think every couple deals with it. Like I said, I think our transition was different because we never really got a real taste of each other though until
yeah.
we
That's
got
what I'm saying.
married.
That's what I'm saying. So to like go from that to being together all the time. The only thing I can probably think is COVID probably compounded your marriage, right? So if you
Yeah,
think of like
yeah,
compounding,
exponentially.
so the things that would you normally would have went, a couple of months or a couple of years or whatever,
Yeah,
like you got all of that in like a
exponential.
short time frame.
Yeah, exponential. Like I can't remember. They say most couples spend. It's like I can't remember if it's like 40 minutes or an hour a day. You know, that's eating, and so it's like if you factor in how much time we spent and also working together, how much time we spent, we probably like 10, 15 years in our marriage.
That
And we
part.
only been married for four
That part.
years. So
That
it's a trade off. Like you run the risk of driving each other crazy. But if you can survive it, you can move a lot faster and you experience so much more. And like, I'm not saying we're super mature. It's just that we went through a lot quickly.
yeah.
And, you know, I think I'd rather do that to see where we're going to be at. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened.
Because a lot of people got divorces in that time. Even people who
Yeah.
have been married for a long period of time, because they
Yeah.
was like, baby, you can't go to the bar, you can't go hang out with your girls, you
Mm-mm.
can't go, out to eat, you are stuck with this person. And it was like, I was able to avoid you for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I
You
got to actually deal with you.
deal with you.
Like, I'm not okay with this. And so people finally were kind of like, then they had to deal with some of that. And they were like, okay, this not gonna work. So it's definitely good to see that y'all were able to kind of go through that and push forward. And I want to kind of backpedal on something that you mentioned earlier. I know our second topic was, spending that time away from your family and kind of what that was like. But you also mentioned at the end of that, coping with being away from family. But you also mentioned with that, you lost your father that same year you got married.
Hmm.
What was that like? Kind of walk me through some of that.
Yeah. So it was a classic, not like a dark time. It's just that's the most I allowed myself to be distracted, at least positively. So, you know, things like this happen. People go into drugs, alcohol, addictions. And for me, it was work. And I became like a workaholic. And that was the month he passed and the next 6 months in our old company. Um, in our group, we had led the leaderboard for like 6 months straight. Like not even on average, it was like back to back to back, like killing it every single month. And even as a company as a whole, we're in the top 10, top 12. And we were rookies. Like we had like just got started and we just got married. So everybody's thinking like, okay, maybe a couple years down the road there'll be players. We like was dominating and on everybody's radar. So it was just weird. Again, I dealt with a lot of guilt. I would say maybe a little bit. Not, I wouldn't say a lot, but I got married and left, and his birthday, I didn't come home. Father's Day, I didn't come home. Mother's Day, I didn't come home. It's just like all the times you're like, I'll be back, I'll be back, and you just always assume you're gonna get one more chance to say whatever, do whatever, and I didn't. So that was the toughest thing, but I didn't even grieve or go into that mode that much. I went into like beast mode. Honestly, I was like, okay, I done moved out here. This didn't happen. And what was going through my mind is like, I just want to validate my decision. I want, whether people agree with it or not, I want them to look at the decision like, I understand what he did and I understand why. And yeah, after that, we started making six figures in the business and started getting recognized from my CEO, started getting all kind of awards and plaques. And I mean, obviously that doesn't mean anything to me now. It's just that, but that's where my mind went because I was just thinking like, I gotta make sure that if I'm going to make such a sacrifice, that people will recognize why I did and they can see the fruit of it. And every day, that's all it was. And it was a few. It wasn't negative. Like I wasn't in a bad space, and I didn't really turn anything negative other than, like I said, I may have worked too much. I may have neglected some stuff. But after that, though, every holiday, or if I want to go home, if I want to see a birthday, like I stopped hesitating and asking questions. I was like, I'm gonna do it if I feel like I need to, because you just don't know. You just don't know. Like the moments don't last forever. And so if you got one and you feel like led to take it, take it. That's the one thing I learned, and that's it.
I was going to say, for me, that's always been a thing. And I often have been shunned for it sometimes in the process of just being like, hey, I want to go spend this time. And I'm not going to let you make me feel guilty about the time I'm going to go spend with my family doing what I want to do because you don't get this time back. We were
Mm-hmm.
talking earlier. I was at I was telling them I was at my mom's friend's house, and they were church friends, so I've known them since I was young. Me and their son got baptized together at the same time. Like literally, he and I were close. His birthday is a few couple days after mine. So, but when we did, anyway, long story short, she found out her brother died last night in a car accident, and it was sudden, and so it was kind of not like, oh, he was sick and I had time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, he gone. Oh, he not here no more. Oh, it's done. Okay. And so that was an adjustment for her. And I was telling her I had a nephew. Shortly after I moved back, I was in Beaumont for a while, and I moved back to Houston, where I'm originally from. And maybe a few months to a year after I moved back, he ended up dying in a car accident. And so it was very just, and people were like, huh? I'm like, they gone. They're not here no more.
Mm-hmm.
They gone. And so I remember being at Thanksgiving, and I take pictures of everything. So I took a picture of him, but I didn't take a picture with him. And so I said, oh, I'm gonna get a picture at Christmas. He died in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I tell people we never realize how short life is.
Mm-hmm.
We never realize, we always think we got more time.
Yep.
We always think we can go do something else. And
Yep.
that's one of the things even in our industry we talk to people about. You always think you have more time than you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's often how you find yourself in those predicaments.
And it's just, I mean, it is what it is. Not to get sad. It's just like you have to enjoy the moments, and that's the thing that I've learned ever since. Enjoy the moment whenever you get it, and if you just feel the need to take it, because that's usually the reason why. You know.
I had a friend, and I was just sharing with them. I had a friend, and I felt like the Lord was really like, go see him, go see him. And I was like, I don't really have time. I'm running behind. Like I got other things I'm doing, and I didn't really like. I wanted to go see and hang out for a couple hours, and I just didn't have it. So one night after work, I called him. I was like, let me just go by. I saw him probably a week and a half to 2 weeks after it. He passed in his sleep, and it was like, wait, what you mean he did? Someone like he did. You mean like did like he did? He did
Yeah.
hospital. He did like what did you?
Like ICU, is he
You know,
like
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 not
you
doing
like,
well?
and so it was having that aspect happen and really having to come to terms with it. was tough. But I was like, okay, thank you, Lord. That like I listened to that little voice that was like, no, go see. And I was like, okay, you know. But yeah, definitely. So would you say is that normally how you grieve, just to kind of bury yourself into whatever you got going on, or was that abnormal for you and it was just because you were in a different place in a
It's
different?
probably just because I was in a different place, and I don't know. I can see that being a norm for me though. I think up to that point, I had lost two people that were like close to me, but it was situations where it was like my grandparents, and they were older, they were sick. You could kind of fit like it was set up for it. And so it's like you brace yourself for it. And even as a kid, I braced myself for my grandparents because I knew they were older, and I knew,
Yeah,
I didn't process it that way, but I just knew that they would come first.
yeah,
I never processed my parents though. That was the thing. And so moving forward, I could see myself probably doing the same thing. I'm not sure though. But that was I've never felt that broken before. I've never felt that broken before. So that was new to me. This is the first time in my life where I feel like a part of me is truly is missing. Like
mhm,
it's gone. Like it really is. And obviously you can feel it with other stuff, but I really feel like when my dad passed, like the part of Chris is gone now. And it's a part that it's like you don't get it back. The stories, the jokes, the inside jokes, the stuff is like all of that. And I try to keep them alive amongst myself and my siblings and stuff. But yeah, that was the first time where it was just like true heartbreak where you're like, man, this don't feel well. And I miss it, even though I didn't even had time to miss it yet. Like I just found out. It's like, dang, I already missed it. And so I think we all default to something. For me, it's easy with work because I've always worked. I've always been somebody who had a job and was selling something. So that's probably gonna always be my natural fallback. And I started reading a lot more, start getting in scripture, start getting in prayer a lot more.
mhm.
Because I knew that would be the only thing that could truly fill the void. And
Come on.
even with that being said, like it's still hard, but like I knew that could give me some satisfaction and give me some hope. Because in those moments, that's all you want. You just want some hope that everything's gonna be all right.
Would you did you get an opportunity to grieve, or do you think you just kind of worked right on through it and kind of did it in the process? Or you probably like me where you compartmentalize real well and
Yeah,
you just kind of put it here, pull it off with it, did what you needed to do, and just kind of was
yeah,
like, I'll get to it when I get to it, and kind of
yeah,
like,
yeah. Get to when I get to it. Late at night, early in the morning. I do, but it's not. I don't do it conveniently. I mean, I do it when I can.
that makes sense.
At that time too, because I was like, that's when we started like thumping in the business, and it was just so there's The Rock. His dad passed the same year, and then there was a video that he had, and he spoke at his funeral, whatever. And he said his dad used to always tell him like, because they were in show business, they were wrestlers, and stuff would go bad. He would always tell him the show must go on. And like
Mm.
he has like a video talking about that, how his dad told him that, and at his funeral, that's what he said. The show got to go on, and that's kind of the thing that me and my brother kind of stuck to. It's like it sucks. We talk about this and that, but the show got to go on. He has two kids, wife, this and that. So it's just like, yeah, we can reminisce and mourn, and we should grieve, but understand there's other people coming behind us, and the show got to go on. So all those memories that we're afraid of losing and all that stuff, we got to recreate them, but recreate them with who's left.
Come on.
So, and that really has been it ever since. We still laugh, joke, this and that, and then we end. We had the show got to go on, so let's keep it moving.
Okay, okay. And so I know the last thing you want to talk about was what does it look like to be a good man and do everything right, and am I achieving that? So what do you do? I, I know the answer to the question. I'm gonna go and answer it for you. You are a good man. You're doing probably most of the stuff right, and you are achieving that. But I don't know how you feel about that. That's just me. That's my little outside opinion. Look
Yeah,
at the great example you've been able to set for people. So
no, I'm excited that we're talking about this, just because I know most of the men they go through it, and that's the question. Like when we lay in bed at night, that's the thing we ask ourselves. And I mean, I don't. I think I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think I do okay. Like, am I doing everything right? No, but I was telling you with the information that I do have about life, I think I'm acting on the things that I do know. And so I'm aware that I'm ignorant about a lot of things and I'm missing a lot of areas. But I think the things that I do know right from wrong, that I should be doing, I think I do most of those things consistently, and I try to do them at a high level. And I just pray, as I continue to educate myself and learn and have experiences, that it'll shape my actions to become better. And I think that's all life is. It's just you get certain stimulus and you hear something, you learn something, you experience something, and you take it. And you just hope when you're faced with the same circumstance or same situation that you have a new behavior. And that is a signifier of that you learn something. You get the same situation, but you change the way you behave this time. So how I used to act, now I used to yell or get mad, upset. Now it's like, okay, be more understanding and ask the question and do this and do that. So overall, it's a process. It's an evolution. I definitely see the kinks. I see the flaws, and I know I'm not perfect. But I do think I wake up every day with the intent in mind to be like a good man, to be a good person, and try to figure this thing out and understand that is there's never a finished product. So like I'm just getting started. So there's so much room to go. And that's what excites me too. Like I don't want the journey to end. I want to know that consistently there's ways that I can improve. And hopefully I just pray to God gives me the hunger and thirst for righteousness to just be better, to want that. Because right now that's all it is. The evolution is easy because I want it. It's just there. And I just pray that that fire just keeps burning, honestly.
Okay. And so, what would you say identifies? I know you felt like you were, but what would you say identifies a good man or a good?
Man, I don't, so what I would start with is obviously is, I mean, you have your basics, the P's like provider, protector, those type of things. And I think most men naturally default to that. So that's good. Like you should start there because and most women, that's what they look for initially. Are you gonna go to work every day? Are you gonna work two jobs if you got to? Are you gonna try to bring home the food? What you got to do? That's attractive. I think to most women, it's attractive to men too. Like I see another man, I'm like, you going to work every day, you grab your lunch pail. I'm like tipping my hat at you. I'm proud of you. You should be doing that. And the Bible says a man that doesn't work doesn't eat. So if you're not trying to work, I don't care how good looking you are or how much you bench press or how good you spin basketball. Me personally, I don't got much respect for you if you're not trying to work. Like I don't understand that. That's beyond me. So that that's one thing. Trying to provide and take care of your family, protecting physically or just emotionally, like just not letting people come in and out of their lives and controlling their narratives and telling them how they should be, how they should think. I think those are things that men should do. But also, vision. I mean, we are tasked to be the ones who are ready to lead, and that's been the hardest part for me. Not because I don't think I'm a natural leader. It's just that when you're in charge of leading and leading people, like when I was single, it was easy for me to lead because if I made a mistake, then I could just blame me, but it didn't affect nobody else. Now it's like, bro, you have to be conscious. You got to be sober. You got to be this. You got to be that because it's not just you. Like you're leading a wife, and I don't have any kids yet, but maybe one day. And I'm leading a company and all this other stuff. So I think that's the main thing is make sure you have the basics to provide and protect, but also put that vision cap on, put that leadership hat on. And if you don't understand what it is, that's fine. I'm learning leadership. Like I'm just happen to be in my office. Got a book that says Coaching Habits. Got John Maxwell, which is Invaluable Laws of Growth, who's leadership. These are just happen to be books right here in front of me.
Yeah.
Coach Wood, leadership. So like I don't know it either. I just know it's important, and I know people follow leaders. And if our last name is going to be valuable, if our marriage is going to be good, it's probably going to be because I led it there.
Come
Not
on.
saying she didn't contribute, but she was able to believe in my vision and was able to align with it and follow it. So that's the thing that I would focus on. Basics. Come home, take care of your wife, try to date her. Um, Stay out the streets. It's just, I mean, I always tell people I don't get in trouble when my wife's around. Maybe I don't know. It's just I ironically. So keep your spouse nearby as much as you can.
Are you trying to tell
And
us you get in trouble when she's not around?
I don't, but I don't want to risk it. Put it this way, I
Yeah.
have before she was in the picture, but like since she's been in the picture, she's around. I've never done anything like too stupid.
Yeah.
So maybe you should keep it around at all times. And there's little wisdoms and lessons you learn like that. That I mean, obviously people don't tell you that, but it's the truth. Like, come home, keep your eyes on your own paper, and figure out what's next for y'all. Create a vision. A lot of you guys have visions for your business, and you had hope dreams and all this stuff. And just like you planned it in your mind, plan how you want your marriage to be, and how you want your business to be, and how you want your life to be. And she'll greatly appreciate it. You'll greatly appreciate it. And it seems like a lot, but it's not. It's you manifesting the stuff that you want, and you are in charge of it. Like, no, and that's the thing. One thing is, man, guys, you are responsible for everything. And I'm not saying it's all your fault, but you gotta take accountability and understand that you are responsible. So if she's out of line and doing some stupid stuff, I'm not saying you can control her, but what I'm just saying is, like, that is, you oversee it all. So make sure that you're doing your part so that if she follow your lead, that you guys will be going the right direction. And that's all it is. That's all I'm trying to do, is to make sure I'm leading myself correctly. So if she could say, if I was truly yoked to him and follow him, we'd be going somewhere good. And that's the focus. I mean, we're improving. We're better than we were last year. And that's about, that's kind of how I gauge it. So if, we make it to 2024, God willing, hopefully it'll be better in 2023.
So good. I appreciate you. Look, I appreciate you dropping them nuggets for them. But for the young and the old people out there,
Yeah.
the first one was you ain't in trouble when you with her. The second one is lead, and I think you left a third one. But I appreciate it, even just listening, because it makes me think of like a CEO or the manager of a company. Even if somebody else makes the mistake, they don't go to that person. They come to the person who in control first and say, "Hey, Bob is over there acting a fool. Why is Bob acting a fool?" And you like, so you just want to make sure that you,
yeah. Or like you look at franchises, and every franchise is essentially almost independently owned, but it's like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, you know what I'm saying? They don't go to Chick-fil-A, this city, this store, this operator. It's the brand overall. And so you have to, and you can't monitor everything, but you have to try to create a standard for everything, for your family, and try to operate within it. And it starts with you. Like, if you do what you say you're gonna do and be who you say you are, people will kind of fall in line, especially if they feel like you're gonna take them somewhere. And that's my job. That's my job, to be that person, and to put forth effort and action to make her think that, okay, I can trust this man, and I can align myself with whatever he's saying he's gonna do, and act accordingly.
yeah. And I think as long as we follow that order too, God first, then man, then husband, then wife, then you look at this stuff. As long as you follow in that order, everything else will be good. So
Yep.
the head is following the Lord, and you don't got nothing else. Uh, okay, so I know we probably finna wrap it up, but what do you think are the benefits of brothers supporting brothers?
Man, this is a safe space because I talk to a lot of guys on every week, and they're just looking for the conversation, because we think we're crazy. So we feel one way, we're thinking something, and a lot of times the world doesn't cater to us or speak to us in a way where it's conducive and where it's productive or constructive. It's always destructive in the most parts. And everybody's telling me what you're doing wrong and who you ain't, or what mistakes you made. And sometimes we even know that we already internalize it, but we just need an outlet to have a conversation, talk about it. And that's what this is, Brother Supporting Brothers is saying. If you felt this way, if you did this thing, it's cool. Like, I felt the same way, I've done the same stuff, and I still feel the same way every once in a while, but I snap out of it. And what's helped me a lot is when I have these conversations and I'm like, okay, I'm not weird, I'm not stupid, I'm not like crazy. But I need to figure it out. I need to take my accountability and make sure I don't do anything stupid. But yeah, this is part of the journey. It's gonna be bumps. It's gonna be a lot of things that you don't like. But as you go through it and process it, you talk to other brothers, you realize that this is par for the course, and yeah, you're on a good path. So we need to encourage each other and stay uplifted. And the only way we can do that is through communication and through community. So that's what this is all about.
All right, awesome, awesome. Well, that's our time. Thank you, Chris, for joining us for Brothers
Yes,
Supporting.
sir.
If you need to reach him, we put his contact in the below, or wherever the contact is. The contact is. We put it down so you can reach out to him. Whether you just need to talk to him and get some words of wisdom, or even hit him up about insurance. He mainly deals with he's in the financial services, so he's mainly dealing with life insurance and retirement and things like that. So if you're looking for that, he's definitely somebody to talk to. So anything else you want to add, Chris, before we go ahead and call it out?
No, I'm just excited. Social medias, TikTok, Instagram is Chris Cobb underscore chosen. And Facebook is Chris Blake Cobb if you want to look me up. But yeah, let's keep this going, man. I'm excited to see you initiating the conversation. I just want to say thank you for it, for reaching out. It's been about, what, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. So we've been planning it. Excited to be a part of it, that you had me in mind. And just thank you for being a good friend, because a lot of you guys, we didn't talk about this, but he's been there to hear me cry a lot of times, and also just help me within the business. Like literally, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And in our industry is very cutthroat. So to find people who will do it just out the goodness of their heart and not necessarily look for anything in return is very uncommon. And that's what Mr. Charles has been for me so many times. So just want to say I appreciate you for doing that and doing this. And this is a testament of who you are, at least as I know you in insurance. So it's just a real testament of who he really is, and just here help and support other brothers and make sure that we all lift each other up. So I appreciate that big time.
Thank you, thank you. Chris is the same, so I don't want y'all to let him fool you. He the same as me, so it's always good. But anyway,
Yes,
guys,
sir.
thank you. I appreciate your time, and we will see you on Breast. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell y'all, I actually have a surprise coming up. So if y'all got this far in the video, I spoke to the person who run this, because it ain't me. I'm the manager. Somebody else is the G, is the real person who run it. We're having a surprise second brother supporting brothers this month. So we normally only do one a month. We're doing two this month. If y'all like it, and I want to hear from the brothers. I know the sisters love it. They log in, they listen to it. I want to hear from the brothers. If y'all like the two a month, let me know. If not, I'll just leave it at the one a month, and they leave me more time to do what I got to do. But if y'all love it for you guys, I'll go ahead and do a little more, put a little more into it, and get a little more extra. And again, thanks, Chris, for being on here tonight. And we'll see you later.
See you guys. Thank you.